Trading psychology. We're going to be talking about specific emotions, what triggers them, what actions that they can lead to, and also talking about emotions that can be helpful and a plan to be less emotional. So you're going to find this useful if you watch this. I know it's not going to get a lot of views, but if you do find it useful, leave a comment. They say that trading is 90% psychological. A lot of people will say that, and the more that I trade, the more I believe that to be true. It is hugely psychological because you can have a system, but can you follow that system? Right? Why do we deviate? Well, it's almost all emotional, and it's not simple. It's not it's not simple at all. So, dog, you got some weeds in ya. And for me personally, right now, the issues that I'm having in trading are 100% psychological. I have enough data, and especially this year, I have a great system, but I still struggle to execute it, taking unnecessary losses, and especially missing out on wins that my system is supposed to trade, or things that I've prepared for, analysis, and so on. So, for me personally, in order to become a better trader, be more profitable, and reap the rewards from the market, I really need to master my emotions. So before we get into that, I just want to, here's a good approach to have. And me personally, like, I'm extremely grateful for the market being a teacher, giving me feedback, and causing me to bring more awareness to myself of emotions and realize that I am an emotionally driven person. I think of myself as being very logical, but I'm very emotional. And for all these emotions that we're going to get into, it's important to have self-awareness and saying, I feel afraid right now, I feel angry right now, and those things can help us avoid the related errors. Because oftentimes when you feel afraid, but you are able to justify it in the chart. You feel angry, but you're able to justify it in the chart. So, like, that's why emotion is so much, because you see something different. Lonnie, no, leave it. No. She's trying to chew my silk pillow. If you see something, the market looks totally different. No, come here, dog. Come here. Come here. The market looks totally different when you're afraid and when you're confident. So let's get into it. So we're gonna have emotion here. This is the specific emotion, and then we're gonna have a trigger, and then we're gonna have an action. Okay. So I'm gonna group some emotions together. The first one I want to look at is fear. / we're going to lump them together, anxiety, panic. For me personally, fear, anxiety probably are this is the basket of emotions that cost me the most money, probably. Although there's a lot, and yeah, just understanding this and the triggers and how they interact with, understand how it's possible to enter these drawdowns and just become a completely different person, become a completely different trader, understanding how to stop the cycle and get out. It's not simple. It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of study. And yeah, this is what my focus needs to be, because my system is great right now, my analysis is great, but can I execute it? So, what's the trigger for fear, anxiety, and panic? So I know that one of them for me, would be watching a low time frame retracement. So if I'm in a position and I'm watching it on the low time frame and it's coming back towards my entry or it's coming back towards my stop loss. Nalani, no, leave it. Don't chew that pillow. No. If price is coming back towards my stop loss, Nalani, no. No. Oh, she's chewing up all these pillows. I need to make it a habit in the morning. I gotta put my pillows out of reach in the morning. She's chewing on the pillows. Watching price retrace towards my stop loss, towards my entry on the low time frame, it causes me to feel afraid. And it can, honestly, like whether it's real money or whether it's a demo account, it's almost the same. Like, it's just something about being in a trade. I don't know what I'm afraid of. Like, part of it is visualizing a loser. It's like price is retracing towards my stop loss. I imagine any minute it's just gonna go in a straight line and stop me out. This might be trauma and baggage for having traded for so long and that having happened so many times of being stopped out. That this is just maybe baggage and trauma. Another thing that can cause fear and anxiety is seeing my equity curve go down. Another one is watching my un-P&L go down. That can either be watching a profit disappear or it could be watching a loss. But the action that typically happens from this, the one that's the most costly is just closing on retracement. This is a horrible habit that costs me so much, and it's a fear-based habit. And I always try to justify it in the charts, like, well, I'm feeling, and I'll say things like, I don't like the position, I don't feel good in this position, but that's not a reason to exit. My trading system isn't enter a position when you're feeling greedy and exit when you're feeling afraid. Like, that's sometimes what it is though. Like, I feel greedy, so I enter. I feel afraid, so I exit. Like, closing early could be fine if I close on a burst of price going in my favor. At least I'm closing on strength. But just waiting for it to retrace. So I often get the absolute worst exits, and then I have this plan for days or weeks of holding, and I don't do it because I'm afraid. This is probably the single most costly error of all the errors. Fear, closing on retracement. There also is canceling winning limit orders is another one. And this is a fear-based thing, and it's also usually from maybe visualizing lose, like I'm just imagining it's gonna lose before the trade's put on. Like I put the trade on, the limit order on in a more confident state, and then I see the limit order in a more state of fear or anxiety, and I cancel it in that fear anxious state. So what's the solution here? Well, there's not an easy solution. There's a lot more habits, or there's a lot more emotions I'm going to get into, but part of the solution is to limit my time trading. Having the time locking devices has really helped me. I can put my computer and lock it. I can put away my phone and lock it. And this controls when I can trade. And typically, feel the most fear in the evening, and I feel the most greed in the early morning. And I typically trade my best in the late morning, and I can it's like some people are able to be on the charts for 12 hours a day and do well. For me, no, because if I'm on the charts for 12 hours a day, eventually I'm going to be triggered into greed or fear and do something real stupid, like buy at the very top or cover at the very top, right? Like, I tend to do these things, right? So, I think part of it is before I take a trading action, like, what is my emotional state? If it's fear, I should not do anything. And this one is, I think, easier than like anger, because anger requires restraint. To conquer fear is courage. So I need to be more courageous, I think. God, please give me more courage. Right? Courage, a trigger for that is, what could be a trigger for courage? It could be asking God for courage. It also could be reflecting on hard times. Or past courage. And that will help me hodl, right? I need to be courageous, and I need to hodl my positions once I'm in them until I get an exit. And that's another thing we're going to come to. So courage. Also related would be confidence. What creates confidence would be, I would say, experience, and specifically a successful track record. And that would help me to follow my plan. And then the last one that's related is being detachment. Detachment is like, I don't care what happens. I would say having like other life be more interesting is helpful, because that can help me just log off and be like, well, I'm afraid. But I think the main thing is like, I need to be braver, I need to be more courageous. Like, I'm not putting on a trade out of courage, right? But like, I did my analysis ahead of time. I don't like the situation I'm in. I need to sit in that fear and be courageous. And what courage and bravery is? Yeah, I need to be more courageous. And say I don't like it, but I had a plan. Like really trust myself. Courage and bravery is not stupidity. Courage and bravery is doing something despite fear. I guess another side of this could also be caution. Caution is a measured fear, and caution is appropriate. Where caution may ask, is this really the best idea? But if I'm being cautious and maybe not using the biggest size, well, that can be another problem of fear, actually, is like undersizing. Especially for these challenges, like challenges you really need to size them big to have a good chance of passing them. Getting 10R the hard way in a month is super hard. So you have to size up, in my opinion, and I believe so. Especially if you trade like me, 15, 20 trades a month, like it's appropriate to size. But yeah, caution takes caution is a detached and measured fear of saying, if I'm cautious, maybe I would advance my stop, right? Like, if I'm cautious, I also might like take a partial, right? I'm not very cautious. I don't take partials, right? I should be more courageous and more cautious. Yeah, I'm not that brave when it comes to trading. Like, the moment I'm like, I'm afraid, then I just exit out of the position. So that's something to work on, is courage. I need to be braver. And again, that doesn't mean doing something stupid. It means sticking to your plan even when you feel uncomfortable. For sure, I didn't put this on here. Like, having a massive size adds to fear and anxiety. But I've found that even trading like demo, the same things trading demo or prop challenges still activate fear in the same way. It's maybe not as extreme. Like, I'm trading prop. I'm not like. Yeah, it does make a difference. Trading smaller is another thing that helps reduce fear. It's like, or one of the things that triggers fear is having a massive position on. So yeah, reducing risk, I guess. So that's the first one, and that's the most costly for me. I have to be more courageous. So the next one is greed and euphoria, which are related. They're not the same, but a trigger for greed and euphoria. Triggers for greed and euphoria. Greed is calculating TP. This is a trigger for greed. It's like, oh man, if we hit I'm gonna start with a really far take profit. If we hit the take profit, I'm gonna make 20 grand, right? I'm gonna make 20 grand off one trade. Now this activates my greed, right? Euphoria, I would say something that triggers it is like a big unP&L. Like if my trade is up 4R, or maybe I use big size and it's up a lot, and I'm looking at the unPL, that triggers euphoria. So, what are the actions that happen from greed and euphoria? Another thing is watching my equity curve go up. So one thing I'm trying to do is just pay less attention to my equity. That's something I can review on a, at most, monthly basis. But if I'm always watching my equity curve, like I'm afraid when it's going down and I'm greedy when it's going up, certain triggers can be avoided, right? So when I'm greedy, one of the things I do is I would ignore an exit signal. No TP. I might take a video or picture of my unP&L. That's a sign that I should really thinking about getting out soon, or at the least be more cautious, advance my stop. And each emotion, how you deal with it is unique. Like, courage isn't an answer for greed, right? What's an answer for greed? I would say caution is an answer. So being more cautious overall is good. So ignoring exit signals. Greed is like adding on at the market. As price goes in my favor, I'm just adding. Like, that's greed, where it's like, oh, I can make this position so big, and then calculate the TP. If we get there, I'm going to make so much. Also advancing stop, because I'm trying to not let go of what I have. And there's something that happens, like the combination of being greedy, advancing my stop too early, and not suffocating my trade, then being afraid as the price comes towards my stop, which is in profit, and then closing on retracement. That's a bad combo. Like, I prefer now to run my stops wider if can. There's times to advance them, but yeah, greed. Euphoria. So greed and euphoria also cause me to take early entries. So what I mean by that is like pivot too soon, maybe. I guess a winning streak can also cause this. just maybe pivot too soon, like prices come up, and I put on the limit orders too soon. So that's something that can happen. Um, this is probably the second most costly. I think they're similarly costly though, greed and euphoria, because greed and euphoria combination has caused me to enter bad trades, and to also either leading to fear later because of situations I put myself in, and especially not taking profit, and like I just keep adding on, and my original position would have been a huge winner, but I couldn't survive the retracement because I added on so much. So for greed and euphoria, one thing is like I'm trying to address the specific behaviors, and one of them is like trying to really avoid adding on at the market, and also trying to, if I see that I'm taking a video, like I cannot share this until I take profit. Like I have to TP if I'm recording now, right? If I'm taking a picture of the unPNL, like it's time to, it's probably time to think about exiting. So it's awareness. Like I'm feeling afraid, I probably shouldn't exit the trade, right? I'm feeling greedy, I probably should exit the trade and be flat, right? I'm saying I don't like the situation, I should not exit. I'm saying, and I should even add oftentimes, like if I'm feeling afraid, like there's the time to add, like being more courageous. Because when I'm afraid, like sometimes I can add on and maintain my risk because it's a retracement when I'm in profit, right? I'm in profit, so a lot of the time, like I'm exiting at the worst possible time I can add. And greed is where I'm going to add at the market, like I could take some off, right? So I would say caution. Caution again is helpful here. Caution being like I'm up a lot. Like I'm feeling like caution. Alarm bells are ringing right now. Alarm bells are ringing. Like I have a lot of unPNL right now. Alarm bells are ringing. I could lose this. So many times I have. It's a big trade. Maybe I should TP. Then I can post a video, whatever it is. The other one would be gratitude. So if I'm cautious, I'm locking gains. Now, again, caution and fear are different things. Because if I'm like, fear is exiting on a retracement where nothing has happened. Caution is exiting at, maybe it wasn't my take profit target, but I'm getting a signal. And the prudent, cautious thing to do would be to take that signal and exit. Right. Gratitude. Gratitude, what would trigger gratitude? Really like journaling and affirmations. If I'm grateful, I'm locking in and TPing. Like, thank you, market, for giving me this money. I accept this money, right? If I'm greedy, I want more. If I'm grateful, I like what I have, right? So if I'm greedy, like I want this to run more, it's only at however many are, I'm getting, like it's gonna get there for, like, cautious and grateful is like, thank you, I accept this, right? So I want to trade from a state of caution, gratitude, courage, right? These are the things that I need to bring out of myself to become a better trader. Like, especially, courage and gratitude are a couple of the big ones. Let's see what else. There's more, but wait, there's more. There's so many. Okay, let's do this one. Anger, frustration, and hate. And hate is real. Like, you might experience this, but I experience like self-loathing. Like I'm hating myself. I hate that I did that. Right? Maybe I hate the market. So what are the triggers for this? Is like trading error is the biggest one. And the second one would be, so I mean, the first one, trading error, is like, I make a fear-based trading error. Now I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and I'm in a state of self-loathing. If I'm in a state of self-loathing and I take a trade, I'm probably going to inflict pain upon myself, right? Um, so this is where I would just have like impulsive entry. Like I'm just going to re-enter, right? Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it doesn't. Another major cause of anger, frustration, hate, and I'm saying like fear costs me a lot of money, the most money, but then like greed or euphoria has cost me a lot of money, and man, anger, frustration, hate has cost me. These have all cost me a lot of money, and it goes in a cycle too of like, I'm greedy and euphoric, and then I'm afraid, and then I'm anxious, and then I'm angry and frustrated and hateful, and I mean, this is the roller coaster of trading. Is like not the dopamine, but is the emotion. And again, it's the hardest thing. It's really hard, and I want to get better, and I'm trying to get better every day. So what else triggers anger and frustration and hate? Another one would be like barely missing. So like if I barely don't get filled. Like I don't get filled on a limit order by 0.1%. That happens. Or I miss my TP by 0.1%, or I get stopped out by 0.1%. Now I'm mad at the market. This one I'm not necessarily mad at myself. I might be like, oh, I should have had my stop a little wider. I should have had my limit order a little bit closer, whatever it is, but now I'm frustrated and I'm angry, and it's going to cause me to just re-enter. Typically this is what happens. Like I chase, like chasing, right? Another one might be counter trading too early. I'm a counter trader in that I try to pick tops and bottoms, and I try to enter on higher time frame and lower time frames, right? But yeah, this has also been really costly as my mistakes pile. I get more mad, I get more frustrated, more hateful, self-loathing myself and the market, and then make more trading errors. It's a cycle of greed and fear, and then take more impulsive entries and chasing and counter trading. And again, it's like you have the system of these are the criteria, but if I were to say what my actual trading system is, at times it is enter out of anger and frustration and hate and greed, and exit out of fear and anxiety. Like that is the trading system. When I'm feeling greedy or angry, I'll put on a position. When I'm feeling fearful and afraid, I will take off a position. Right? Like I'm vacillating between emotions. But I'm becoming more aware, I'm doing more self-work, and I didn't know this about myself. Like again, I didn't have to. So this is something that I do really appreciate, and I'm grateful for the market of teaching me this about myself. Like I thought I was, like I didn't know, I thought I was more solid. But I can be. So what is the answer here, okay, in terms of like the other side of this? Like I would say love and forgiveness. And it's possible to trade out of love, I think. We're just reading Market Wizards, and Ed Seykota, who's he's absolutely ridiculously good. He says the thing that he believes gives him the most edge is that he legitimately loves the markets. Like he loves trading. He thinks it's his calling. So if I'm entering a position because I'm hating myself and I'm hating the market, compared to I'm entering a position because I love the process of trading, obviously it's may create a very different result. So Love is huge. Love is huge. How do I get in a state of love? I think it would be like um, pets, friends, and family. It's like just outside sources of love and bring those into trading, I think. Um, uh, so I'm going to say the action is helpful decisions because one of the actions is like self-harm through the markets where I'm like mad at myself for making trading errors and then punishing myself through another trading error, right? This is something that I enact. Like, it's not part of my story, but it's become something that happens from time to time. So forgiveness, again, I think it's really important to be um, forgiving of yourself via maybe journaling and affirmations again. So I think journaling and affirmations are huge. But if you're forgiving yourself and you're forgiving the market, you can just move on, you know. Like, okay, I made an error, and next time, hopefully I'm not going to say it won't ever happen again, but hopefully I'll do better next time. Like, I need to forgive myself. This is a hard thing, I'm figuring it out. So, anger, frustration, and hate. Again, that one, I would say anger, frustration, and hate is the hardest one, probably, at least from a conceptual basis. Because if you're feeling afraid, you can be courageous, right? It's possible. If I'm feeling afraid, for me to be courageous, right? Now, if I'm greedy, euphoric, it's the signals to be cautious. But it's just I find it anger, frustration, hate to be difficult because these emotions tend to be empowering in a way that's I mean it's greed and euphoria is hard too because when I'm in that state, like caution to the wind, I'm just grateful that I don't one of the things I do, I didn't put it on there, is oversize. Like, I typically don't over risk or oversize. I mean, I maybe at times risk such that it makes me afraid, but like, I never risk my lifestyle on a single trade or a series of trades. I never risk all my trading capital or my future on a trade or a series of trades under any circumstance, so that's good. So another one, which can be very costly, is boredom, needing, addiction, compulsion. These are all obviously related. And this one is like, boredom and needing go together, where I have nothing going on, and I'm bored, and I need something to do something, like I'm maybe, and then it act out this addiction, compulsion to what is overtrading, just putting on bad trades. Right. I put on a bad trade and then I become fearful about it because I know it's a bad trade. Boredom, needing, addiction, compulsion. What is a trigger for this? So for this, it would be a combination of, okay, it might be like lacking social life. It might be easy access. And it might also be I mean, like related too much time. It could also be like this one could be poor sleep, although they all could be. Poor sleep, diet, exercise, whatever. Because when you're in a state of need, like, I need love, I need food, I need sleep, I need exercise. It's like sometimes it's hard to tell if you're hungry or thirsty, right? If there's something, if you're anxious, you need to use the bathroom, whatever it is, right? So the body needs something and it tries to get that through trading. Obviously, it's not going to get it. So um, the the best way to be here is to be satisfied. This is probably of all the emotions, maybe the best one to trade in, because if I'm satisfied, what is satisfied is like being well nourished, um, being full. This would be getting the good sleep and all that, also just having a good life and all these things. And the action is like, imagine saying I'm satisfied. This is when I'm taking no trade or no action. This is also when I'm taking profit. Like, this is separate from greed, but when I'm I'm satisfied, that's enough, is a better place to take profit from. I'm afraid I'm gonna give it all back, right? Like, I'm satisfied, that's enough. I caught 2-3 legs, I'm up 3 hours, however much, I'm out, right? Thank you. I'm satisfied with that, and I don't need to trade again. I'm gonna log off, right? Cultivating satisfaction is key. I'll also point out here that this is the one where the time lock devices are the most helpful, because the boredom, needing, addiction, compulsion, like if I'm sensing that that's happening, I can, if I have a moment of strength, I can lock my computer for the next 12 hours, and then that's a great solution. So the boredom, needing, addiction, compulsion has improved considerably in May. I've taken the fewest trades I've taken in many months, definitely all year, and that's great. I'm trying to reduce the number of trades I'm taking, and yeah, it's the compulsion for me. Now, there's one more, and this is like depression, sorrow, feeling of loss, sadness. I don't really feel this that much in my mind. Like, I think I'm more prone towards fear, anxiety, greed, euphoria, boredom, needing, anger, frustration, hate. Like, I'm not really someone who gets depressed. Probably because I'm so well nourished biologically, and depression is like a biological thing. But I get elements of these from losing streaks. But again, if I'm losing streak, I'm more prone towards frustration than to being sad or depressed. Maybe just like reflecting on the loss and equity. And I guess the big thing is like what could have been. Although I actually think maybe these things may be helpful for me, because typically when I'm depressed, sorrow, loss, what happens is I take a step back and I take a break. So I think it's okay at times to feel down in this way, because I'm usually not putting on trades out of depression. Like, I'm not logging on, right? I'm taking a day off. So this is probably okay, and it can be helpful. I think it's okay to trade from a state of excitement and joy, though, and these are probably a better place to be. So I think excitement is quite different from greed and euphoria, because you can be typically you're excited about something that's going to happen. So for instance, I've been in long distance relationships, and I'm gonna see my lady in maybe a month. I'm excited for that, right? You're excited for your vacation, you're excited for your friend to visit, whatever it is. So I'm excited for the next opportunity, right? And I'm joy and grateful for when that opportunity comes. So Yeah, that's emotions, a breakdown of emotions. Again, it's not. There's a lot of emotions that make trading difficult, and they all don't have the same solution. They're all different, and typically they cause different errors and need to be addressed in different ways. And if you like this, let me know. I'm for sure going to be spending more time on this because to me, this is 100% the problem right now. Is oh man, like if I can follow my setups, I will make a fucking killing. But I gotta follow them. So, yeah, it's emotional. All right, much love. If you found it useful, let me know. Peace, and let's get it.